Welcome to this edition of The Right Perspective. We take a little bit of a dive into history, ladies and gentlemen, to try and understand who we are, where we come from. And it all revolves around this entire theory of Aryans versus Dravidians. Aryans were invaders who came to India and civilized this society, because the word Aryan itself is associated with those who are noble or civilized. And there are many Western historians, and some in India too, who have tried to push this Aryan invasion theory. However, there are others who say that if you look at linguistics, then it's the reverse, that it all evolved here in the Gangetic plains of Bharat and then went across to the rest of the world. There is no genetic pool that proves the Aryan invasion theory, nor does any archaeological finding prove it. So let's try and understand, is this entire Aryan invasion theory still not proven? Is it a myth? Was there no Aryan invasion, but it was actually an outgoing out of India? Now the word Aryan itself, according to Anatolians, Iranians and Paurava Indians, means one of us or compatriot. And very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, that Iran itself derives its word from Ayrayanam Kshatra. That means the place or area where the Aryans lived. Compatriots, people of one particular kind lived. And this is referenced there even for this word in the Rig Veda. So, who propounded this entire Aryan invasion theory? 19th century scholars say this theory appeared in the 19th century. It was prevalent till the mid-20th century. These are people, and that's what they said, that they invaded northern India from certain regions, which is now current-day Russia-Ukraine region. They destroyed Harappan culture, is what they say. They destroyed the Indus Valley civilization, dominated Indian religion and culture, and they are the ones who pushed through Sanskrit and Vedic literature. They are the ones who brought knowledge here. They shaped India on Vedic religion. This is what is the claim. Vedic religion was superseded by Hinduism, imposed the Sanskrit language, pushed the caste-based system, pushed Dravidians to the south of the Vindhyas. So this is what they say. Now what do the detractors say? The detractors say this hypothesis was created to justify colonial conquests, invasions. No archaeological or genetic basis to this at all. That is what is said. There are others too, like historians, many political voices, nationally and internationally, who have had various things to say. Max Müller, the German Orientalist, said that Aryans introduced the Sanskrit language. And all of this happened because Europeans realized that a lot of their words find their roots in Sanskrit. So the argument is that it was tried to appropriate it, saying those languages were evolved into Sanskrit and not vice versa. So that's what Max Müller said. Dayanand Saraswati, founder of Arya Samaj, said Aryans came to India from Tibet shortly after the dawn of creation. Bal Gangadhar Tilak said Aryans migrated to India from the Arctic Circle back in 8000 BC. M.S. Golwalkar said RSS Tilak, right about Arctic origin, but the North Pole was in India at that time. So there are a lot of different assumptions that were made. Swami Vivekananda said Aryans came from India, and ancient India included Afghanistan. Sri Aurobindo said Dravidian languages closely related to Sanskrit. So there have been different views and counter views to this. One man who's been championing the cause of the fact that you have to look at this linguistically, and if you look at historical facts, the absence of archaeological facts, is that the reverse stands to be true. And for a long time it was thought that civilization, knowledge evolved in India and then moved out of India to other regions towards the west. That's what happened. Earlier this week, I was in conversation with the very same man who's also now penciled this. Still no trace of an Aryan invasion. It's a collection of Indo-European origins. The man is Dr. Kundra Elst. Listen it. For those who followed his works, he needs no introduction. He's been perhaps for decades a lone warrior against those championing the Aryan invasion theory. Kundra Elst is an author, historian, but somebody who's also now wanting to put out the facts scientifically, where we as Bharat can be proud of our heritage, our knowledge, and this went from here to the world, out of India. It didn't come from outside into India. Now, that's something which he's believed in. There are many who follow his works and listen to him, but we've had the pleasure of him with us in person in studio. So, thank you very much, and namaste. It's fantastic to have you. Let me first ask you, those who champion the Aryan invasion theory, are they being economical with history? Because history for us is very muddled. So let's start from where it all started. So does Bharat's heritage, Vedic knowledge, predate the Indus Valley civilization? I'll start from there.
Yes, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that those who believe in the Aryan invasion theory are necessarily economical with the truth. You see, they do not have to have evil motives. Usually, they just believe that this gives the best account of the data. And so I think they're wrong, but I think on the whole they're honest. I mean, there is this conspiracy theory that I hear a lot in India. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all colonial racism and so on. No. You see, the colonial administrators at the time, and then later the National Socialists in Germany, and then all the anti-Hindu movements in India started making political use of it. But that's not how the theory came about. I mean, the idea that politicians can concoct a scholarly theory, and with that convince all the specialists who then start to propagate your theory. I mean, that's not how it works. You know, so the theory is quite honest, only I think it's wrong.
But what is the genesis of this theory? Because for our research, or my team tells me that sometime in the 19th century, this was first propounded. And this was around the time when many say that the Adam or Ram Setu got renamed Adam's Bridge. And this whole talk about Adam actually landed on Earth in Sri Lanka and then made his way, used this bridge and came to India and took the knowledge to... So all of that started being perpetrated by the same group which till a few years earlier have mentioned that same bridge as Ram Setu. So did it happen around the same time? So was there a larger narrative to try and fit India as part of a rising European conquest?
No, I don't think in this case the Christian or the biblical factor is that important. You see, when the Portuguese colonized their part of India, then Christianity was still supreme in their minds. When the British came, it was still a factor, but not the only one. And so in the genesis of this theory, it's less important. Although it was started by a Catholic missionary, a Frenchman working in Andhra Pradesh, Gaston Laurent Coeur-Doux, a Jesuit. And so in 1767, he sent a paper to the Academy in Paris in which he showed that Latin and Greek were related to Sanskrit. Then immediately it took quite a flight because the famous French freethinker Voltaire took it. And so he made it public, and he pointed out that the origins of European culture are actually on the banks of the Ganga. Now, with that, incidentally, he also set the trend in that the Aryan invasion theory was immediately instrumentalized for an ideological agenda. In his case, he was an Enlightenment thinker, very much against the church. So what point he was trying to make was, well, the origin was not in the Bible. And so ever since, you see, a number of different points have been sought to be made through the Aryan invasion theory. Or, no. Through the Indo-European family theory. There was no Aryan invasion theory yet. Sorry, here I have to correct myself. At that time, in the early period, the dominant thought was that India was the homeland. And so it had a rivalry